Stiv Wilson, you've been out to the plastic gyres, these garbage patches. Can they come back to life? You're a plastics expert.
Yeah, I mean, this will astonish you, but people talk about the garbage patches as being the final resting place. The plastic will never escape there, and it's there in perpetuity. The good news is it's actually when these gyres rotate. Takes the North Pacific gyre takes about 3 years to rotate. It spits out about 50% of its contents. That's either going to enter another gyre or wash up on land. So, I mean, hopefully, what I say is beach cleanup is gyre cleanup. If you are capturing that stuff before a surge or a storm puts it back into the ocean, you have effectively cleaned the ocean. So, the key is we need to stop it going in. I mean, the first thing you do when a bathtub is overflowing is you turn off the faucet. And that's what we need to do is turn off the spigot, and then the ocean will take care of itself. The best thing to do for the ocean, it seems, is to leave it alone, and it'll figure itself out.
Nature's okay without us. Talk about the microbeads story.
Yeah, so I spent all this time at sea looking at plastics, and I'm originally from Minnesota, and I grew up sailing. We have 10,000 lakes there. But I wasn't a salty dog, as you say, at that point. I was a fresh dog, I guess. But after doing all this adventure around the world, what I realized is, very few people actually have a connection with an emotional connection to the middle of the ocean. And so, bringing it back to my boy Jacques Cousteau, he said, we protect what we love. So I said, let's look at the Great Lakes. Let's see if we find plastics in the Great Lakes. And we found really big concentrations of them. Hitched a ride on a tall ship out of Erie, Pennsylvania. It was a replica of a War of 1812 brig, so it was actually pretty funny. We were literally hitching a ride, and I would ask the captain if I could throw the trawl in. He's like, "Oh, we're just actually about to be in a battle reenactment." And I was like, "That's why you're dressed funny." Okay, got it. But we did find these really high concentrations of these plastic beads that were traced back to personal care products, scrubs and toothpaste. And that said, I started a campaign about 3.5 years ago to get rid of them. And happy to say, through both California state legislation, which gave us the leverage for federal legislation, Obama signed my bill at the end of 2015. And we have effectively eliminated them from commerce in the Western world.
And that happened pretty quickly. So did industry go along with this? Did they fight you? And tell us a little bit of the backstory about how these microbeads came into being in the first place.
Sure. So originally, these products came on the market as, they're sort of vanity products where they were promising, to make you beautiful and by giving you glowing skin, and they would take off the dead layers of skin through exfoliating. And originally they were natural ingredients like apricot shells and jojoba beans and things. But the problem is natural ingredients are actually too effective. So if you use these every day, you wouldn't look glowing anymore. You would look, kind of like Night of the Living Dead. So in order to increase consumption, the companies put in a less effective exfoliator, which was plastic, because plastic is very smooth. And ultimately then, and I'm sure whoever came up with this idea got a tremendous raise, who said, hey, I can increase our sales 7 times. And so they became a daily gentle exfoliating scrub. And, they were widespread all over the market. I mean, the estimation was between $6 and $9 billion industry. And ultimately these things are just, they're not needed. You can't find a dermatologist that will tell you, yes, you need to do this, and they weren't giving results. But yeah, the big companies fought back really hard, because if they had to go to naturals, again, they were going to decrease their sales by 700% essentially. So it was fighting tooth and nail with Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson